You guys keep having me second guess my pronunciations in these videos. I'm pretty sure this color is called Colonnade Gray. I only wasn't sure because of that whole colonel thing. I thought you were the paint people, not the pronunciation police. Anyway, I'm going to review this paint color for you, and please, don't be spooked by the name. This color is a lot more than gray. Plain old gray can be depressing and really kill your vibe, especially if you're one of those neutral no thank yous watching. I love that term, by the way. This, of course, is a paint color by the behemoth paint company, Sherwin, and it's kind of a big deal. It's been featured in several of their color collections, including their Living Well Renew palette, but most notably the Top 50 Colors collection. That seems like pretty high praise to me. I'll try and go through it as best as I can for you and give you some details regarding it, but most importantly, I will show you a color palette that I built all by myself with my bare hands. Or my eyes, or whatever. And hopefully that palette will inspire you in your paint color endeavors. That's really my goal here. It's just to empower you to add some wonderful color into your life one way or another. Even if that color is gray, like this one. I'm just kidding. It's not really that gray. To me, it's more of a taupe coloration, which is admittedly gray leaning. The first thing that I like to discuss is the light reflectance value of whatever color I'm talking about. And that's essentially just a 0 to 100 lightness score, essentially. Colors near 0 are going to look closer to black. Colors near 100 are going to look closer to white. And Colonnade Gray sort of sits in the middle at a 53, which essentially makes it a mid-tone paint color. It's kind of middle of the road in terms of depth, which usually means it's definitely not going to look like an off-white or anything, but it's also not dark enough where you're going to turn your home into a really trendy downtown steakhouse. I don't know, I just feel like the fancier the restaurant, the darker it feels inside. That's just me. 53 isn't very dark, but it's maybe a little bit darker than your ideal level of lightness for an all-purpose wall paint color. There is going to be some fine-tuning that you need to be aware of with how light or dark you're going generally, because for a lot of people, dark colors are going to feel way too dark for their space, or at least they think it will. And I guess the fear is you don't want your house to feel gloomy or moody all the time, but things can go just as poorly the other way too, believe it or not. You may not actually want to pick a color that's way too bright and light because it could be a little overpowering visually and also can lack nuance when a color is so bright it just feels completely washed out by any lighting you have. I can't see Colonnade Gray having either problem really, because it does have some nice richness to it, but kind of in a balanced, passive fashion. It's sort of a blend between gray, brown, and a little bit of beige as well to warm it up slightly. And this is a pretty attractive combination to have because it's extremely transitional in nature, meaning it can deal with the cool spectrum of colors with that gray element and also warmer elements with its warm beige brown, and that makes it a very powerful tool at connecting the dots within certain parts of your home. It's not the warmest neutral out there, and depending on your lighting, there can be a tendency to show a dash of cool green in certain circumstances. You might see a bit of that flashing through depending on your home, but only to a really minor degree based on my experience using it. The only way to know for sure though is to test your colors out, please. I'm serious. Undertone wise, this is a paint color that sits in a very nice place where I would feel comfortable using it in nearly any room of the home. You can really justify Colonnade Gray anywhere. The only limiting factor is its depth, being a mid-tone. It could work anywhere, but I don't think I would put it everywhere necessarily. I think using it in conjunction with some lighter and darker colors to give you a little more juxtaposition and variety is going to be key. And lo and behold, I'm about to give you those keys right now with this color palette I'm about to unleash on your eyeballs. So get ready. Please like the video so we can just move on to the palette, please.
Yes, please, thank you very much. Please, thank you so to you.
The first color to work with Colonnade Gray is Natural Tan. And this is one of those colors that sits in that mid-60s LRV range, just light enough to make it that much more user-friendly. This is a color you can pretty much put anywhere. And it does have some common ground with Colonnade Gray where you have that beige quality mix with the slightest tinge of gray to make it feel relaxed and easygoing. If you were worried that Colonnade Gray would be too dark in a specific room, but you still like the color for what it was, that's where Natural Tan slots in pretty perfectly. This color goes into the opposite direction where you go even deeper as a paint color, and it also feels to have a touch more of a true taupe feeling to it. Maybe more brown in this color and the slightest bit of red compared to green as an undertone, but not enough where they're gonna completely contrast one another. I would say these colors are definitely close neighbors adjacent to one another along the neutral color pie. And did I mention red? How about bravado red as your accent color? Now this one is fun to me. Normally I go a little more traditional with my accent colors, whether I opt for a dark taupe or maybe a slate gray or a beautiful deep forest green. Bravado red is very much an in-your-face punch of vibrancy that turns the whole neutral palette on its head, really. What it does give you is an opportunity to have your fun room, your accent that can show your guests that you like to have fun too. You're not just a neutral Ned or a grayish Gretchen. Colors this powerful are best suited in small doses, for me. So that means either have it in a small accent form within your furnishings, or just use it in a room that maybe you're not spending a ton of your day in. A powder room, your dining room, maybe a regal living room. Or you can just stick to painting a shelf this color, just so you have that little pop without overwhelming the space. Now, baseboard colors are going to be pure white for one, if you're looking for something really clean, simple, and versatile. And then ironclad would be my dark trim choice, which is very much an off black with a hint of espresso brown and maybe a dash of green as well to tie everything together nicely. To be honest, if you're going with bravado red on your walls in any room, I'd probably go pure white on the trim, or even just double down with that red and just go red on red. I think the deep red walls and dark trim could be a bit too dramatic, even for me. I'm just kidding, I don't like drama. Unless it's Shakespeare. My boy William. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think. And we got another one right here, over here, this one.